is a production of the Department of Broadcasting and Journalism at Western Illinois University.
Now from Macomb in high definition. Good Morning Macomb continues.
Easter is 5 days away, and have you been good enough for the bunny to come visit you? Good morning, Macomb. I'm Megan Sanchez.
Well, that's debatable for me, Megan, but I'm Animal Zuniga, but we know some bunny you don't want visiting you.
Absolutely. A mall Easter bunny in Jersey gets hopping mad and brawls with a shopper. You've got to see this video. Here's CNN's Jeremy Roth.
Meeting the Easter Bunny can be a happy tradition, but it's also been known to freak some out. Usually kids, right now, me. Ugh. But everyone probably got freaked out when a brawl broke out between an Easter Bunny and a shopper at this Jersey City mall. The floppy gloves came off after a shopper got angry when his child fell off the bunny's lap. Words were exchanged, then out came the rabbit punches. Both men were charged with assault and both had outstanding warrants. Yes, both. Authorities confirmed the warrant on the bunny was for, and I swear this is real, fair hopping. So, have we ruined Easter for you yet? Don't worry, this will cheer you right up. That is the sound of an Easter egg hunt specially designed for visually impaired children. The event in California was using technology to allow blind children to participate in the holiday tradition. The eggs emit a loud beeping sound, allowing the kids to use their ears instead of their eyes. And from hunting eggs to tracking gators, officials at a school in Lakeland, Florida had to call in professional trappers to wrangle a nearly 10-foot alligator that showed up on school grounds. Officials believe the gator was just cutting through the campus on its way to a nearby lake. Nobody was hurt, and the big guy was trapped and released. Well, take a look at this. I'm Jeremy Roth.
Easter hasn't even got here, and it's already been interesting.
Absolutely.
One dog from Long Island is making a name for himself in none other than the art world.
This 3-year-old black lab named Dagger is also being called Dog Vinci due to his artistic abilities. His owner loves to paint, and after a while, she realized her puppy enjoyed painting too.
Down next to me, and one day he was nudging me, and I said, "Do you want to paint, Dagger?" And his tail started to wag. He was so excited to see the brushstroke on that canvas. It was almost as if his whole world had opened up.
Dagger can now paint by following commands from Yvonne. His paintings are pretty popular. Each sells for between $50 and $100.
I think that dog might be more artistic than myself.
I think it's more artistic than me.
Well, 6 miles north of Macomb is a 1,200-acre park with hiking and biking trails, a 240-acre lake, more than 100 campsites, and now 4 new additions for campers to try.
Spring Lake manager Ryan Hansen spoke to Emily Manley about how the park is becoming more accommodating for all types of campers.
Ryan Hansen became the manager of Spring Lake Park a little over a year ago. During his past year, he has worked to make the park more friendly and open. Recently, Hansen came up with an idea to help out campers, who he says are the indoorsy type.
Going to buy them.
Well, I grabbed a napkin one night and just started doodling. And then I looked at some other designs. Some friends of mine have little man cave cabins, so I went and looked at some of the things they had and kind of took the things that I liked and then just incorporated them into this design.
This design he is talking about is a 240 square foot cabin, costing $10,000 each to build. But the unique thing about these 4 cabins is parts of them are made from the park's own resources.
You know, every year we have big oak trees and walnut trees that die in the park. So instead of turning them into firewood, we took them up to Corsaw and had them mill them down, and then we turned that into flooring.
The cabins will have a small kitchenette, a bunk, and a small living area. They are also heated and air conditioned. But the campers will have to experience some of the nature feeling by going to the shower house for a restroom.
Outside there will be a deck with some patio furniture, a little raised fire pit so you can sit around at night overlooking the lake.
Hansen also bought golf carts for campers to rent to get around the park. He is hoping this type of camping appeals to those who want to camp but also want a little more comfort of a home.
Just a little bit more rustic cabin.
Thank you, Emily. Since the weather has been warmer, Spring Lake Park opened last weekend.
2 of the cabins are close to opening and are rented out for the first weekend in April. You can make reservations by calling the park.
Judge Judy's got some competition to watch out for.
That's right, and she can see Russia from her courtroom. Former Alaskan Governor Sarah Palin's got a new reality show coming out, and she'll have a show just like those fellas at the People's Court.
We can only imagine she'll be trying to stop that punky little thuggery going on with her pit bull lipstick. But anyway, the show would premiere next year if it's picked up by enough TV stations.
Could get interesting.
I'm going to watch Judge Judy instead. I don't know how I feel about Palin being on TV. In the home stretch of the academic year, stress starts to mount, and it's especially hard on the body.
That stress can be bad for your heart as well, particularly in older people. Jim Morelli has a look at the damage stress can do to the body and strategies for dealing with it.
It doesn't matter who you are, stress is a simple fact of life. It's nearly impossible to avoid stress, so
it's really a matter of how you're dealing with stress that is the key point.
Dr. Deepak Bhatt is a cardiologist at Boston's Brigham and Women's Hospital. He says stress management is crucial to healthy living because stress can be harmful in that it raises blood pressure and heart rate.
Because those elevations in blood pressure and heart rate, if repetitive, if pronounced, can ultimately lead to things like a heart attack or heart failure.
Bhatt says another problem with stress is that it can lead to unhealthy behaviors.
Not exercising, not eating right, maybe smoking, maybe other sorts of bad habits, excessive drinking. That can lead to bad health, including bad heart health.
So what are some proven ways to relieve stress?
I think that exercise is one of the best ways to relieve stress.
Other proven ways to relieve stress: practice positive thinking, meditate or pray, unplug from electronics, especially at bedtime, get enough sleep, and finally, find activities that make you feel good. In Boston, Jim Morelli for CNN.
Take a look at this video. It was captured by Dave Eden from Bushnell.
Dave will join News 3's Emily Manley next to talk about his crazy storm chasing experience. Don't go away.
To eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat?
1 in 5 children struggles with hunger in America. Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Looks like it's done.
Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So learn the right temperature to cook each type of meat. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
Now from Macomb in high definition. Good Morning Macomb continues.
And good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Macomb. This morning I am joined by a man who decided to go shoot his own tornado footage. The tornado hit just north of Macomb last week. Thank you for joining me this morning, Dave. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Now let's start with where you got the idea to even go chase this tornado and get the video.
Well, I've always been fascinated with tornadoes and a big fan of the Storm Chasers TV show that was on like Alerting Channel, and always wanted to see one in person.
And so when you where were you at the time where you got the notification? Because you said you got the notification on your phone.
Yes. All the phones like in McDonough County went off with the warning. I was at the church in Bushnell, and when the warning went off, I looked at the phone and I looked at the radar to see where it was at and where it was heading, and decided I was going to go chase it.
Now, when you went to go chase it, you obviously pulled over and pulled out your phone, and all that video that you shot was on your phone, right?
Yes.
And so after you shot it, you sent it, I guess you put it on Facebook, or how did all these people see this video?
Well, I put it on Facebook. That's the only place I had put it. Next thing you know, it was being shared, and a lot of people were sharing it themselves. And next thing you know, a half hour later, I had ABC on a New York call, wanting to know if they could use the footage.
That's awesome. Did you ever think that your video would be shared on a national network?
No.
And so once they shared it, did they say, oh, it's going to air at this time? Did they send you a link, or how did you know that it actually aired?
From people saying on Facebook that they saw it on the Weather Channel, or they saw it on Good Morning America or Today Show. They've seen it in different, I didn't even know it was going to be on those shows.
Now, you said that you started to become a tornado chaser. You wanted to become a tornado chaser when you were younger. So have you seen a tornado before? Have you had a tornado that's even been around you growing up?
No.
So when you had that tornado, were you, I mean, like, what was your adrenaline? Was it running? Were you nervous? What was that like?
It was very exciting. It was. I wasn't afraid. It was very exciting because I could see it on the ground, and so I knew I was in a safe spot. So I just sat there and watched it and videoed it.
Now, how far away do you say that you were from the tornado when it was on the ground?
When I first saw it just outside of Good Hope, there were 3 vortices on the ground at one time. At one point, maybe mile and a half, maybe.
And so what was your thought if it came at you? You know, what was your thought? I know that you can get down in the ditch. I've heard about that before. Is that something that was going through your head?
No, I could run.
Oh, you were going to outrun the tornado.
It was this very slow-moving system. And I was able to, I parked right at the intersection off of 9, right off on a side road, so I knew that, you know, I was able to jump on a main road and go.
Now, they've said that when you hear a tornado, it kind of sounds like a train. What was it actually sounding like?
Where I filmed, what you can see on the camera, there is really no sound. I really couldn't hear much. It was very calm. There was no rain. Where I was at, really even any wind. It was just a quiet tornado.
Now, you said you're a substitute teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So have you shown your students, some of the students that you subbed this video?
Yeah.
And what do they think? I mean, what are their age groups? Are they like, oh my goodness, a tornado? Are they amazed that you went out and shot this video?
Well, they're amazed by it, and they've seen it on the news too, or Facebook, and some tell me that you're famous. But then one day I had a QAD out of Quad Cities called, and they wanted to do an interview, so they came down to Colchester, where I was subbing at the elementary school, and we had some kids partake in that recording, and so they thought that was really cool.
That's really neat. Now, if you were told tomorrow that there's going to be another tornado, because there is a chance of severe thunderstorm today, but do you think that you would go out and chase another one?
Yes.
And, you know, you just pulled over on the side of the road. I want you to explain exactly how that happened. Let's start there. You know, you get the notification and you just pulled off on the side of the road and pulled out your phone and just hoped that there was a tornado that was going to touch down?
Yes. When I left Bushnell.
So you got lucky.
Yeah, I got lucky. I just happened to be in the right spot, you know, at the right time. I headed west from Bushnell on Highway 9. I was looking at a distance. I knew the radar direction it was heading, so I was looking for some rotation of clouds. Or looking for a tornado at that time, because you get the warning, you don't know if it's on the ground or what. So I just was heading west, and in a distance I could see south of Good Hope some rotation. It wasn't much, but there was some rotation in the clouds, and I got to that spot where I was. I said, I'm going to sit here and wait and watch it for a while, and it came right in front of me.
Well, I guess you can say that you are famous since your video has been on national news. But I also want you to know that if you want a job here at NEWS3 as a videographer, we'll gladly give you one, because your video is absolutely awesome.
Sounds good.
So thank you so much for joining me here this morning, Dave.
All right.
And it was fantastic. We'll be right back here on Good Morning Macomb. My favorite thing about WIU is how much we work as a team. Everyone here has helped immensely, and when we work together, the outcome is amazing. Producing for the newscast, writing for the newscast, going to City Council every Monday. It's something that I've learned that it takes a team. There's no such thing as an I. If there's an I, then we know that something's going to go wrong. I really do believe WIU has prepared me for the outside world. I can't wait to see where I end up. I have to thank everyone that has been involved. You know, Jasmine Creighton, she has managed to help me overcome that scary part. And the way that you have a great show is not the content that you have, it's the people who you work with. And here at WIU, I have had a chance to work with some excellent people.
Hey, did you know that 2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Go to theshelterpetproject.org and search your local shelters and rescues. Go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
You make me wear my bike helmet. Taught me never to run with scissors. And to follow the swimming rules.
You tell me to stay away from drugs.
To always buckle my seatbelt.
So why do you keep a loaded gun in your drawer?
How safe is that?
You asked them to follow some safety rules. Now they're asking you. In fact, they're counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. Remember, always lock it up. Visit ncpc.org.
It's time for another game show. This week, it's Pyramid. It's just like the classic winner's circle, except we'll have longer than a minute, and we'll see on screen some of the clues, and we'll have to guess the category it belongs to.
Are you ready?
I am born ready.
Okay. So our first three clues are leftovers, cold milk, and baking soda.
Ooh, that is actually kind of a toughie.
That is tough. Are those things in your fridge?
I have that in my fridge, so that makes sense.
Okay, perhaps that's the answer. Things in your fridge.
Is that the answer?
Yes, that's the answer. All right, woo! 1 for 1. Let's go. All right, give us the next clues.
Okay, the next clues are time for an exam. It's on the syllabus, and turn to page 12, class.
Bueller.
I've heard those words before.
Bueller.
Me too.
I've heard them.
I'm trying to think of where.
Bueller.
I think, no, I know. Is that our news director?
Bueller.
Is that things our news director would tell us?
Things Jasmine Creighton would say. I think that could be it.
Is that it?
Is that the answer? Oh, something a professor with it counts. It counts. I think it's fair.
Bueller.
Good enough. Good enough.
All right, what's the next one?
All right, pasta, a fancy menu, and a wine rack.
Well, I know one thing for sure. That's what I want to be in my house right now.
Yes, those sound like things that you love, but I'm not sure that that's the answer. I think it might be things in an Italian restaurant.
That makes sense, and Mario does love his Olive Garden, so I can see him writing that.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. All right, things you'd see in an Italian restaurant. We got it.
I think we're two for three. That's not that bad. Well, I guess it was 2 for 3.
It's all right. It's all right.
All right, now the next ones are because the engine light came on, because my car is making funny noises, and because I've passed 5,000 miles. I gotta say, Megan, that this one is one that plays to my heart.
Yeah, it really gets you in the feels because you've got car troubles.
I do have car troubles, and it's not easy. So I'm gonna say that these are things that you want to go to the mechanic for.
Yes, things you want to go. Reasons you'd visit the mechanic. All right.
We are on a roll.
We got it.
You know what? We should do game shows more often.
Probably.
Let's do Family Feud.
I'm not that good at that one.
Okay, maybe not.
All right, so the next three clues, it says fasten your seatbelts, ready for takeoff, clear for landing. Now, I just traveled to Florida, and I want to say that those are things the pilot might have said on the airplane.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Do we got it?
Things a pilot would say. Let's go.
There's so many high fives right now. It's been a good day so far.
Definitely. Absolutely.
This was fun. We should do this again.
Definitely.
If not Family Feud, we'll find something else. All right. We have another.
We got a sixth question.
Okay.
Here we go. An empty shelf, the back of a TV set, the blades of a fan. This is tricky. I don't know if I know this one. Is there a lifeline in this game? I
don't think it's that kind of game.
So.
Okay, we've been told to listen.
We've been told to listen to the music. I really have no idea.
I know, and I feel so bad. Things that
like dust. That's a good one. That's tricky. That's
Mario
tricky.
got us on that one.
All right. Well, we will be right back, but still to come, Danny Fry has the story of the women's Leatherneck basketball team and their tournament invite, and some games for the memory book. We'll be right back after this.
Homemade noodles. Marty, stop it. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. It reminds me, I've been thinking maybe we should try a new form of birth control. I heard about this one. It's called the IUD, intrauterine device. Or we could try the patch on your arm. Actually, I think that one goes on your butt.
Bedsider.org has birth control information and a lot more. And it's...
What do you think, though? Arm or the butt?
Hey, Hard, what's this? That's my resignation letter. You're resigning? Why? Because you're constantly ignoring me. You're half as active as you used to be, and you get stuff like this. You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately. That's why I'm ready to quit. I forgot. I'll do better. Please, don't quit on me. Okay. But remember, it's not what you say. It's what you do.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you.
Let's go for a walk.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
Don't worry. The 74 people were picked before me in the NFL draft. To fight childhood obesity, United Way and the NFL are helping kids play more. To donate or volunteer, go to unitedway.org/play60. Now I get it.
Welcome back to Good Morning Macomb. Spring break is supposed to be a time of relaxation, but that wasn't the case for the Western Illinois women's basketball team. News 3's Danny Fry has more on Western's hectic postseason run.
After losing to Oral Roberts in the Summit League Tournament quarterfinals, almost everyone thought the season was over until the Women's Basketball Invitational came calling during spring break.
Well, I still thought it was just such a long shot. I thought, you know, the tournament's kind of keeping their options open in case a few crazy scenarios happen. And so I really didn't think too much of it. I mean, I got a little excited about the possibility, but honestly, I thought it was just kind of something that I didn't want to get my hopes up for.
And once WIU was selected, it was a mad dash to get all the players back on campus.
I think most of them thought I was lying at first, and especially the seniors were really excited. You know, I don't think they liked the way, and our whole team, they didn't like the way they went out at the conference tournament, so they were excited to have another chance. But then immediately, you can just tell in their minds they go into, how am I going to get back?
And he says, you're not going to believe this. Well, I first thought, okay, did something happen to my dog? Because my dog's in Macomb, and also my car is here. So I was like, okay, one or the other, something bad happened. But he told me, and my mouth just dropped.
Reichelt was in California while other players were scattered around the country, and for sophomore point guard Emily Clemens, she was 7 hours away from going to Mexico.
I talked to some of the teammates and like my mom, so I think it was just hearing the chance that my basketball days are limited and that Mexico's always going to be there, so I think that kind of overruled the trip.
The Leathernecks won their first round contest over SIU 99-97 in overtime, but that meant more travel concerns.
And at that point, it was really fun. You know, the stress of getting the kids back, to me, gave me probably the most anxiety I've ever had in my life. The scramble after we beat SIU was pretty fun because we were so excited to be there.
Before the game at South Carolina Upstate, the parking brake broke on the charter bus, but parents like Bob Reichelt jumped to the rescue.
He just felt so honored to take us because he loves us like we're his own kids, and so he was so excited. I mean, within 30 seconds, my dad was up and the car was running and saying, let's go, you know, so it was cool, and I'm glad that I got to share that moment with him because, you know, it's different on the bus. You know, you have your headphones in, you're to yourself, but we were in a little sedan and crushed it all together, but it was awesome.
I mean, we've had such a good group of parents following us, and it was so neat they were able to make it on short notice to South Carolina. And right away, that was our first thought when the bus wasn't working, is let's call the parents we have here and get our kids our game. And really, the kids got there about when they normally would, so it didn't take them too out of their rhythm. And for us coaches, you know, we were a little bit delayed, but it wasn't a big deal, and I don't think it affected the game at all. In fact, it was kind of funny with all we had been through.
Ultimately, I'm happy I played. It was definitely a hard decision at the time, but in the end, I look back and I know I made the right choice.
It was a better way to go out. You know, almost every team goes out on a loss, but if you're going to do it, I think our kids really felt like they put it all out there.
Reporting for News 3, I'm Danny Fry.
The women's team went on to lose at South Carolina Upstate, but now they can finally go into off-season mode.
And two comic giants are duking it out on the big screen. These fan-favorite franchises are already gaining a lot of traction. These two companies are like David and Goliath, PC and Mac, Trump and his ego. I'm talking, of course, of Marvel and DC. Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice started out with some controversy. Director Zack Snyder had the challenge of competing against already critically acclaimed rendition of the Batman Christopher Nolan created. The casting of Ben Affleck as Batman created some tension among fans. Public view was still a bit unsure about the film. That is until the Hollywood premiere earlier this week. Fortunately for Snyder, the film has premiered to positive reviews from fans. But if you want to find out who would win in a fight between an indestructible alien and a man in a metal suit, you can watch the U.S. premiere this Friday. And while DC has a movie coming out just this week, Marvel has at least 10 others coming out in the next few years. A big one that has people stoked is Captain America: Civil War. Instead of superheroes fighting against some dangerous supervillain, Captain America: Civil War is a battle amongst heroes. This film will have the introduction of new heroes like Black Panther and fan favorites like Iron Man and Captain America. The most recent trailer even showed none other than Spidey himself, which I'm personally really excited about. Whether you're a Marvel fan or a DC fan, one thing is obvious: the amount of superhero movies coming our way takes the cake. And today is March 23rd, and it marks one unique holiday everyone will love. Stay tuned to join in our celebration.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise and be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
You can be a hero by being prepared for an emergency. First, make a plan. Call a family meeting to plan for things like how to connect with loved ones after an emergency or your escape route. I am not fast. Build a kit. When disaster strikes, it's important to have enough supplies to last 3 days. And don't forget the batteries. Low battery. Visit ready.gov/kids for more preparedness tips.
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Stories. They happen everywhere. At News 3, we go the distance and tell them firsthand. Across the region.
The tornado tore through a neighborhood in Washington, Illinois.
Across the state.
Here at the state capitol in Springfield for the gubernatorial race.
Across generations.
We have a lot of people that are very dedicated. We're all volunteers.
The stories that inform us, the stories that move us, the stories that matter from a fresh perspective.
Today is a day to show our furry little friends a little more love. It's National Poopy Day.
Yes, News 3 wanted to share with you some of our furry friends. Now, I have to be honest with you, in this slideshow, 4 of those dogs are mine.
4 of them?
4 of them. Yes, I'm very fortunate to have 4 lovely dogs, and I love them so much. There's one of them, Bubba. He's a Great Dane. He weighs 180 pounds, believe it or not.
I cannot say that I'm that happy about this segment because I've never had a dog.
You've never had a dog?
I've never had a dog. My dad's allergic. My sister's afraid of them, so it's just, I can't win here.
That is one of the saddest things I have ever heard.
I know.
But enough cute puppies to go around, Emily. We can share with
and
you, I suppose.
we have some all right news though to make up for that. Weather right now is actually not going to be that bad. Now it has been cooler than it was, like, let's say yesterday, but it's still, you know, in the 50s. So
unfortunately, that's all the time we have today. Thank you for joining us.
We'll have more news tomorrow during the Live at 4 and online all the time at news3wiu.com.
Have a great morning, Macomb.